So community hospital was the Black hospital for African Americans, for Black folks, because Black folks could not go to Evanston Hospital or St. Francis Hospital. So it was the community hospital, it was the county kind of hospital here in Evanston.
Collective impact is, believe it or not, it's literally what it is, what it says it is. It is collectivizing the impact that our partners are executing already. It's the existing impact. However, when we collectivize it, and there's this exponential component, there's this compound effect when people's skills, expertise, knowledge is being synergized toward one very specific, complex social problem.
Yo.
What's going on, Patrick?
How you doing?
How are you? I'm doing great.
Good.
Mic check.
I'm doing great.
1 2 1 2.
Turn my volume up.
What time is it?
Old school.
Yo.
So, I was in Baltimore last week
Yeah.
visiting my daughter who's on the radio, and she invited me on air, which was kind of terrifying and kind of fun. But to watch her as a professional, like introduce me and then select songs, then cueing me on how to intro was awesome. So a bunch of my buddies listened. So my 18-year-old pulls in, I guess my buddy tells the story, my 18-year-old pulls in Thursday night. My buddy Matt goes, so Theo, what'd you think of your dad? Did you hear your dad on the radio? He goes, yeah. And he goes, well, what'd you think? He goes, that guy's got a podcaster voice. And then just walked right into the house. And I was like, how cool is that? 3 in and I got the podcasting voice. That's great.
You do though.
You do. You got it
You
down.
did.
He kind of does.
You got it down.
There
pat.
it is. Oh my,
Nice.
I was dying.
Nice.
I was dying.
Are we just going whenever we go?
We're going when we go.
So before we introduce our guests, let's just talk about what just happened right now.
Yeah.
4 young people who the second batch of young people that just got selected to work at Ryan Field just showed up for their tools and dues and tools here at the Trade Collective. And I just got a hug from young Brian. Brian, I don't know his full backstory, but I do know he's very happy.
Yeah.
And what did you just hear?
He was super appreciative of the Trade Collective. He said, this has changed my life already. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to fill in the backstory a little bit. He said, so what were you doing? And he's like, well, I was doing some odd jobs, really not much. Mm-hmm. And this is like giving him purpose. He was energized. I told him flat out, he made my day. He made my day at about 5:15 p.m., which has been a long day. And he made it at 5:15. The contagious energy of someone who finds what they've been looking for, an opportunity and a pathway, and just something that he feels proud about. Felt really
Pete,
proud.
Just give us a little sense of what a day in the superintendent head of curriculum, like what is your day? I don't think the community, or maybe I don't really know what is what's asked of you.
It depends. It depends on the day.
But give us today. Like what happened today?
What happened today? Well, today I got in. I had to manage some substitute teacher situations. We might not have enough subs to cover classes, which it all turned out fine. But that was my first, frenetic 40 minutes of the day. Then I met with a department head and we had to discuss some curricular stuff in world languages. And then I met with the assistant superintendent of HR and we had to discuss staffing. And then I met with, and you get the point, and then I ran a department chair meeting. So all these department chairs, right, and directors report to me. And I ran the meeting and we focused on professional learning for teachers. And we were developing and co-creating some real opportunities for teachers to reflect on their practice, to engage in sharing materials in small groups. And just that was awesome. And then I met with, did some donors work, for donors.
Yeah.
Then
it just goes on.
Processed a board report
that's just Thursday.
At 4:30, I was writing a board report, for Monday. And that was my day. But, it was energizing. And then I came over here. And to be honest, when I entered here, I was kind of I'm kind of tired. But then I met this kid, Brian, and he's all excited. And to be honest, it's contagious, right? You're like, wow. So it made my day. So that was my day. And every day is different in my role. So, yeah, thanks for asking, Pat.
Yeah. I mean, I think that part of what I think is, education just seems like one of these things that we just do. We just hope that we have good people there doing it, and we do. But I don't think the average citizen kind of knows what goes in. We have almost 4,000 kids over at that school, guiding them towards something. And I'm excited about our guests today, Kim and Baxter. We're going to talk about Cradle to Career and what is it, and kind of why did Cradle to Career even happen? Why was there a need for an organization? I reached out to Dr. Witherspoon, the former superintendent of the high school, kind of leading up to this, just to sort of say, why are we doing this? Well, he gave me more about why it's so important right now. He wrote me a long text. And, he's excited that we have a podcast,
Yes,
that we're talking, which I think is cool that the high school is here talking about and meeting a young Brian and, and seeing people maybe that were lost that we're helping to connect. What did he say? My perspectives on Cradle to Career are that this collaborative is needed more than ever before. We're living in a time when people in our community need more help and more support and more care than ever before. There are growing needs in mental health, housing, education, childcare, food security, safety, being an immigrant, healthcare. I mean, it just goes on and on. Like, gosh, when the former superintendent of the high school, who I saw literally running around town building this organization, creating the need for this. And I think one of the reasons why we want to talk to you is like, what is Cradle to Career? Why do we have that? Let's start there. Let's just introduce each other. Kim, if you could lead us off, who are you? And, welcome to Fired Up, our new podcast. But we'll just talk today about why does Cradle to Career exist? Why are you there? And then Baxter, we'll get to you in a minute.
I appreciate that. I'm happy to be here.
Great to
Excited.
have you.
I live here at the Trade Collective. Evanston Cradle Career is now one of the tenants here at the Trade Collective. So we're happy to be here and really happy to see it evolving. In this short time, just so much has happened. So we're excited to be a part of that. I am Kimberly Holmes-Ross. I am a fourth generation Evanstonian. My grandparents migrated here in the late 30s.
What does it take to become an Evanstonian? I mean, you kind of hear it like fourth generation, that's there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You kind of hear people.
You really
like,
don't get grandfathered in. You have to be born and raised. There's no getting around it. You can be Evanstonian-ish.
Yes.
Right here.
And we appreciate it.
Someday.
As long as you're Evanstonian-ish and you're invested in your work, play, pray in Evanston, that's cool.
Yeah.
And we love the Evanstonian-ish people, but there's just no way around.
So fourth generation.
Yeah. I mean, the family has been here a long time. We have worked in Evanston a long time. Watched my parents do the work here in nonprofit and social service. So it's really important to me, just as a person, as a human, but as a citizen and as an Evanstonian. I know you guys asked, what do you think about? I think about leaving Evanston better than I found it. And whatever that means and whatever that looks like, that's what I'd like to do. And when we talk about Cradle, because we're going to take a deep dive into Evanston Cradle to Career, I have been here about 8 years. I started as a community engagement person part-time. I kind of wandered into the position. I was kind of, decompressing. I had been at CPS for a decade and I needed to kind of decompress. So I was like, I just need something light to do. And, this sounds good. And we built this amazing community leadership team who a lot of people know the Advocates for Action. They're just community folks who care about their communities. And you don't have to be in a leadership position to lead, right? So that's kind of the premise we went under. But Evanston Cradle to Career, it's a collective impact agency. It's the only one here right now.
The only one.
In Evanston. And I think it was just really important to establish because there's a lot of good work in Evanston.
What does a collective impact mean?
I'm going to let my collective impact expert talk about that when it's his turn.
Okay.
I'm going to make him earn his money today.
Okay.
But I just want to say that it was established, as far as I'm concerned, and as we continue to grow, to really take all that good work that's happening, because there's a lot of good work, but to bring that work together in a more efficient and effective way, right? So that's what we're here to do, to convene folks, to support the work of our partners. We're not trying to redo the work, but we want to support and lift up that work. And we've been able to do that here with the trade and a lot of other organizations. We partnered with over 40 organizations and institutions here in Evanston.
So you didn't help create it, but could you just talk about what was happening that, particularly in the education system, that said we need to get all the nonprofits and anybody who's working on kid development, children's development together? What do you know why?
Because I think the disparities were showing, the slip was showing. And, it was time to we can't just keep sweeping this under the rug. We have to lift it up, say what it is, and do something about it. And I really believe that's why they came together. It was always education focused. It started with early childhood, because we know our youngest learners, if we can get them started early, that strong start to kindergarten, we have some hope the rest of the way. So yeah, I believe the disparities, it was just too much.
So coming out of early childhood to 65 and then 202, and there were gaps, probably teachers and administrators, big ones. And so, gosh, if we could all get in the same room, and I've seen your rooms that you've put together, they're pretty cool. It's all the people who care about kids in this community in one room, in one or under one umbrella. And I it's really just sounds smart and logical. And if people are living in silos, then they're not, there's probably redundancy. There's probably just, you're not as smart and you don't know each other. There's probably lack of trust.
I was going to say, and you hit it on the head, and we've taken, it's like, oh, you guys have been going so long, and, it's been 10 years, but you have to build those relationships. These organizations have to talk to each other. They have to trust each other. And that's a lot of what we do. We try to be that organization and those people who say, hey, this is going to be all right. We're going to, do well together. So yeah, but trust.
Trust is huge. I mean, and I remember the networking opportunity. You guys would set up networking at the beginning of the meetings. We're going to do networking time. We're going to talk to each other. We're going to get to know everybody. And, at that point, I think I'd have been here about 10 years. And I was like, whoa, I know enough. I'm like, believe it or not, I'm shy. I was like, I think I know enough people. And then Witherspoon was like, no, go. And I met a lot of great people.
And it's the best part of our meetings.
Yeah.
And we love that.
Yeah.
We make sure we have the time for that.
Yep.
We did a coffee break instead of the beginning of the hour this last meeting, thanks to Patrick.
Thanks to Patrick Hughes.
Thanks to Patrick. But it really gives people a time to really go, and really, somebody came and like, this is like a pub. This is like, where are you guys at? But we were really meeting and connecting and networking. So yeah, it's a big piece of who we are.
And that builds the trust for sure.
Yeah. Baxter, who are you? I know you're one of 17 kids.
That's right. That's true.
That's just awesome. And I want to get back to you a little bit, but let's hear from you. You're 17 kids. What?
Yeah.
Let's just start there.
13.
Yeah, number 13.
And
Lucky 13.
Yeah.
We grew up in Maywood, Illinois. The family's from the west side of the city. And I came here in 2001 to work for Congresswoman Chakowski. And I've remained engaged ever since. Kimberly and I actually started together with Evanston Cradle to Career in 2018.
Yep.
And I left at the pandemic to do some other things. And she has persisted and ensured that this agency is advancing, its mission all these years. And I think at this point, Kimberly has been the longest tenured employee at Cradle to Career, Evanston Cradle to Career.
Wow.
So we are, an organization that has access to that kind of institutional knowledge where you can answer the kind of questions that you just asked. What was the reason for you guys coming into existence? And so Kimberly is always reminding us of our purpose, why we do the work every day. If you leave it to me,
we'd be in trouble.
All right. So, but apparently she would like you to earn your keep here. So collective impact. How do you describe what is collective impact in as short a word as you can say? What does it mean?
Collective impact is, believe it or not, it's literally what it is, what it says it is. It is collectivizing the impact that our partners are executing already. It's the existing impact. However, when we collectivize it, and there's this exponential component, there's this compound effect when people's skills, expertise, knowledge is being synergized toward one very specific, complex social problem. And in 2014, when the wheels start turning for the creation of this organization, that complex social problem was a strong start to kindergarten. Opportunity gaps at kindergarten. And I think that this community could not accept that before Latino and African American children had a chance to compete for the future, they were at a critical disadvantage. And what we wanted to do was demonstrate.
Wait. Why?
Why were they at a critical advantage?
Please.
Disadvantage? Patrick, I believe that the reason for that is cultural. Mm-hmm. That is not an easy thing for me to say. I think that the reason for that is cultural. The education system is not a culturally responsive institution. It does not take into account all of the differences inside children's household before they even go to preschool. And so the culture of education is not uniformly presented in ways that all cultures can thrive. So I believe that that's the problem. We do not have data to substantiate that. What we have are gaps. And so those gaps are in opportunity and in achievement. First, we saw the gaps in achievement, but we recognized that the truth was the gap was in opportunities.
Okay. Evanston's a complex place.
It is.
We're not Wilmette. We're not Chicago. We are our own. Let's talk about that. Talk about the complexity of Evanston, if you don't mind. And feel free to say what you need to say.
Well, it's very complex.
Mm-hmm.
We say Evanston is integrated from 9 to 3 when it's school time. And then after 3, it's segregated. And it's always been a segregated town.
Where were you born?
I was born and raised in the 5th Ward. I've been a resident of the 2nd Ward for 30 years
What
now.
hospital were you born in?
Well, I made it to Evanston.
Okay.
No, St. Francis.
You were at St. Francis.
St. Francis, all right.
And it's been
But
a long time,
a lot
Patrick.
of people raised in the 5th Ward were born where?
At community. I was born a little later, so yeah, I'm not quite there. But anything before probably 62,
Okay.
anything before 1962,
Could you just
was at
fill that in a
Community
little
Hospital.
bit, please?
So Community Hospital was the Black hospital for African Americans, for Black folks, because Black folks could not go to Evanston Hospital or St. Francis Hospital. So it was the community hospital, it was the county kind of hospital here in Evanston.
2040 Brown.
2040 Brown, staff with Black doctors, Black nurses, who lived in the 5th Ward, right? So they lived together with people who were doing domestic work or blue collar workers. Everybody lived in the 5th Ward and took care of each other through the hospital, through businesses. Everything that needed to happen in the 5th Ward did until the disinvestment began, right? So that was kind of the downfall for me of Evanston and the 5th Ward thriving. So we're seeing a new 5th Ward today. But yeah, it's a really complex place. You think about the E-Plan. We just talked about that earlier. And the E-Plan is the plan that the city does every 5 years, and it gives you all this data. But in 22, the E-Plan really lifted up all of the inequities, all the disparities. And when I say they didn't, it's not that they didn't lift them up before, but they were brought to the surface, and we took it out to the community, and the community was like, what?
Yes, you did.
There was-
I remember that.
Yes, Evanston Cradle to Career helped along with the city. We hired an ambassador for the data, and we shopped it around all over the community to say, this is what's happening. There's no tree canopy in the Fifth Ward. The health disparities are horrible. The mortality rate, 13-year difference.
Same town.
Same town, over the bridge.
Yep.
Over the bridge. 13-year mortality. That is, to just say because of where you live. Where you live. So complex is a nice word for it. But we really have to recognize the racism that has existed and the inequities that still exist.
Yeah.
It paints a really powerful story that when I first came to Evanston a long time ago, I remember I visited here when I was in college with my girlfriend. And on the way here, she was telling me it's the most diverse town. It's the most diverse town. I grew up in this diverse place, blah, 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 blah. And she hadn't really been back since high school. And we were flying back, and I come into town and she takes me downtown, and I'm like driving around. I'm like, doesn't look very diverse. Looks like a lot of white people. Like this was like, in the 80s. And then she's like, no. I'm like, so your 9 to 3 hits.
Yeah.
Right? The report hits. The hospital hits. The Emerson Street Y hits. And if you haven't seen the YouTube documentary it's on YouTube, the documentary Emerson Street Y. I've played that for folks out of town, and it explains a lot about where we live.
Yes.
And tells some really important truths that I think is our legacy. It's part of our legacy. It's part of our history.
And we should know about it. Dino Robinson wrote an amazing book on the gathering space, and it's about the Emerson Street Y and what that meant for the community, and then even more so what that meant when they took it away.
Yeah.
So there's just so many things that I think need to be lifted up and talked about.
Yeah.
And recognized, and then we move forward from that. If we never talk about it, we can't fix it.
Yeah. What else? What else is coming to your mind when you hear this?
Well, Evanston is a very complex place. And that is evidenced by the work that you're doing here, I think. These are probably the most capable people that I know. And I struggle to understand why they wouldn't expand the scope of possibilities for everyone so that people can see the range of opportunities that are out there, not just for our youth, but for, anyone. I think Evanston has taken up the arts, and, we have sports teams, but some of the things that I feel like are missing are this ethos where people work with their hands, they help their neighbors in ways that is tactile. We all sort of invest in the place where we live with our bodies and our souls and our minds, our spirits. Coming together in that way, working together, I think builds community, and it builds hope for the future.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Cradle to Career.
Yes.
It's in the name. When you and I first started talking, there was kind of a missing piece in that. It was a lot of work about cradle and education, but the career piece was kind of a part that is not something you couldn't flex it yet. Is that fair?
That's fair.
I don't know. I think it may be because it was started by educators and a huge emphasis on education, but the career piece was kind of not developed. I'll just say I think it's, if you're a manufacturer in this town or you have a business in this town, the conversation that we're having is not an easy one to have if you're not from here. Race is not an easy conversation, particularly when people, it might be easy on my side being white, but it's just, there's a lot of unspokenness. I don't think people know how kids have been delivered, how diversity has been delivered on a bus to their children, right? Yes, there are kids from the Fifth Ward in all the different schools, but they are delivered via bus. It is artificial. If you talk to Hecky or to Lorraine, and it was a good thing. It is a good thing, but it is not natural. Anyway, I think if you're a business in this town, this is a hard conversation. And if you're not from here, it's not easy if you're from here.
I think it's a hard conversation if you're from here and you haven't done any work on it. So like just when you said, Pat, white, you used that word. I still think that's a big deal in Evanston when white people say, hey, as a white guy, here's what I think. We do that at the high school a lot. We've learned how to do that over more than a decade. And acknowledging the privilege that comes with that most folks don't even see because they swim in it every day. So I think what makes this place challenging and unique for outsiders, right, when someone comes in, is like I said, when I came in, I was looking for this diverse place, but it wasn't diverse. So I started asking questions. And the response I got was like, well, no, it is.
Yeah.
We've worked on it. We're good. We're better. But I think, the challenge for, in a town that's diverse, buses, its diversity around, the buses ran in one direction. They didn't have to run in one direction. We could have maybe back then figured out a way to move everybody around on a bus. But we made choices. And those choices have lasting impact.
The one place we did move everyone around was that experimental. I always talk about it, King Lab.
Yep.
It was Martin Luther King Jr. Laboratory School. It was the experiment. It was one of the first social experiments. I think Evanston and New York were the only cities who were doing it. And they moved everybody from every ward around. Everybody was on the bus and everybody went to the same school and everybody got back on the bus. Now, the challenge was when you get back on the bus, you look around, but wait a minute, these are all the same folks on the bus. But we all started kind of at an equal playing field. That was, I think, very innovative. If you talk to any old King Labbers, I got to tell you, when you talk about diversity and equity and equality, that was kind of the fabric of who we were and who King Lab
It is a unique experience.
It was such a unique experience.
Yeah.
And we're also connected on that. But Evanston, I think we're so bold. I think we are so forward thinking. When you talked about your day to day, I'll just share mine because mine started at 9 this morning at the reparations committee meeting. So, I always have to give a round of applause. We're the first city in the world. These Black folks reparations, come on.
It's incredible.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Done
so my
here.
day is right here in Evanston.
Yep.
So we do some good stuff. We do some good work. We got work to do.
We're never done.
We're never done.
We're never done. And we hardly ever celebrate those successes.
You're
I
right.
think. That's
No, you're
my
right.
take as an outsider. Who's been an outsider for, let's face it, I've been here about 30 years. So
Yeah. You're still just Evanstonian-ish.
married in, but not really. Didn't get there exactly.
But that to me, in some respect, underscores that complexity that we were just discussing. It's kind of like the missing middle. Evanston has a acute challenge with missing middle housing, but it also has an acute, and I think these two things are related, in terms of social stratification. So when you think about the people who are in what we call the class of the oppressed, right? Who the people who qualify for those reparation dollars. And then you have, we have billionaires who've lived in Evanston. And we have others who are empowered, and they're not all white, but most of them are. The truth is that in the middle, there's this community of people who support all of it. And they are so important, but they are unsung heroes, in my opinion. And I got to keep going back to this revolutionary idea that people can build a life that's based on relationships, not test scores, not your GPA score, right? Not whether you were able to make it to school every day and have perfect attendance, but you were there for your neighbor. You were able to do things that were useful for your community. And I just wanted to lift that up.
I think that counts. Thank you for doing that. Yeah.
They're not poor. They're not indigent. They're not weak, right? They're here, they're working, they don't need anything from me or you. Matter of fact, they'll do their job and yours. They're ready, but they need an open door to really get to reach their life potential.
Yeah. So why are we talking about this at the Trade Collective, and why are we talking about this on Fired Up? Because it's all connected, and it shouldn't be a separate conversation. It's not.
No.
So let's talk about the cradle to career piece and what are you thinking about? If anyone wants to keep talking about anything that we're talking about, I don't mean to change the subject, or so please, you got to say something, say it. But let's talk about the career piece, because I think that is, that's what we're here for.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Right. And Patrick, you said, I don't think you can flex your career muscle yet. And I was in agreement. But we're in the gym. We're building that muscle. We're building our workforce muscle. Cradle to Career has always had a pillar of work that included prepare for adult life. And I feel like that has evolved over the years because, we've evolved. And it's just not a bunch of businesses that come together once a month and kind of, just update. It's really people out there doing the work, recruiting the kids. We know workforce is real in this town. So we are building our workforce development muscle and our partners and our coalition for workforce development. But yeah, we're still in the gym.
I just want to say I love being in the same space with you. We are sharing space here at the Trade Collective. I have a new appreciation for what the collective impact means, me. And watching you gather people together just last week, Gilo Logan talk about his father, and he's a great storyteller. Just hearing about his dad. And I don't think, I'm going to say from my side of the community, we don't hear this. We don't talk about it. I mean, it's a well-known story within the 5th Ward and 2nd Ward in the Black community who Chief Logan was in our community. But, and let me just say, this studio is named the Saw Studio, named after Hecky, because Hecky loved to get into trouble. And anyway, so you'll be leaving today with some Hecky's barbecue sauce.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
I just want to comment that I love the work that you're doing. I see it. I appreciate it.
In terms of that workforce development piece and that prepare for adult life, when I started years ago on Cradle to Career, I was part of the Prepare for Adult Life. And it's interesting because at that point, we had a lot of kids, over 100, which is a lot of kids, right? Without a plan. Forget what the plan was. Forget whether it was viable, had no plan. And that was a lot of the discussion was, what's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? So 2 years ago, we had every kid with a plan. But it wasn't just a plan. It was like a viable plan. We kind of vetted it to be like, all right, is that real? Like, I can have a plan that says I'm going to own a house on the lake. That's my plan. That's a declaration of something. What's the actual plan? So we worked on really getting, individual career and academic plans in place for every kid. But we still, thanks to like the work of the collective and, bringing kids to not just have a plan, but have a plan you can execute. If the college route isn't for you. Now, we still prepare everybody because we have to prepare everybody for math and for reading at a certain level. But that shift from like every kid needs a plan, every kid needs a plan, which was a lot of pressure. And that came from Cradle to Career. I mean, it takes pressure to move an institution.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, it takes a lot of hustle to get the 100 kids we're talking about a plan. Because these are...
It wasn't personal.
No, I know it wasn't personal. And even if it was, that'd be totally fine.
What else should we talk about? I'm thinking about, I'd like to know your workforce development initiative. I didn't really give you these questions in advance to prepare you, but how do you describe that? Kind of like what are the buckets that people should know about within Cradle to Career? How do you sort of segment the organization?
Well, we have 3 pillars of work.
Okay,
right?
great.
So we have early childhood.
Okay.
Then we have our Prepare for Adult Life, where workforce comes under that plan. And then we have the social determinants of health for the 5th ward, and that came out of the E plan. So those are our 3 big buckets of work. Under those buckets, of course, there are all these things that come with it. So early childhood, we have the Early Childhood Council. We have under PAL, now we have all of our workforce development partners. Under our social determinants of health, we're really focusing on our EJ. We just celebrated, you talked about celebration. We celebrated our environmental justice partners with the successful or adopted environmental equity investigation. So the city adopted that plan. So we took some time today to celebrate because there is good work and we don't always stop. We just keep working.
Yeah.
More
that's
action
the culture.
items.
That's the culture.
More things to do. But we did stop today to celebrate.
That's great.
So those are our big buckets of work. And what's important for us is that our partners see themselves in that work. And, and then we can come and support them in, whatever ways that looks like.
Can you give me like a concrete example of something that happened that you're proud of that you wanna share?
There's so many things.
Give me a couple. Give me one
Well,
or
I just
two.
talked about environmental justice and our walk into that, which started in 22, and then to see it kind of evolve into this really active working coalition is super exciting. Our partnership with Northwestern and Community Connect and our interns and being able to support our partners and paying for Northwestern interns for our partners has been really exciting. It has kind of enlarged our footprint at Northwestern, and I think and really let us all come together. So Northwestern is just not this place on the lake, but real people who care about the community as well. So that's been really exciting. We have a lot of good stuff
Is there a
going
shout
on.
out to anyone there? I mean, I know Dave and his team.
Dave and
Davis.
his team, Rob
Donahue,
Yes.
Director of Center for Civic Engagement.
Yeah.
and his whole team.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I would like to celebrate people and thank them.
And then
I'm-
grounded for public service.
Right. Grounded
Yes.
for GPS, Val Buchanan. Awesome. Great people. Yeah, no, this is, I heard your question, Patrick and Peter. You guys are asking about sort of our workforce development initiative. And we do not and have never really been able to stand up that component of our work. Cradle to Career is supposed to shepherd a young Evanston resident from literally 6 weeks old all the way through to 23 so that they know and have a viable chance at a plan that really works for them. And it hasn't been easy, and that's the hard truth, is that we are still struggling with that component of our work.
well, I feel like we're doing it together.
I do too.
I feel like the Trade Collect is a piece of that. And I'm grateful for the partnership and the friendship, and then now the partnership. But what else?
Yeah, I was thinking about like it's interesting because the trade collective kind of serves the same function for the high school, right? We were good at getting kids academically ready, graduating students. We weren't good with getting them into the workforce. We just weren't. We didn't really have internships. We didn't, we had a really good CTE program, but it was internal, right? We had a couple external partners and a couple advisory boards, but we didn't have the relationships to place kids in the trades. In fact, the trades were like this thing, this magical thing. Oh, maybe the trades will come to the career fair. The trades. And then they would drive in and they would be from far away. And we'd be like, how could we ever? We don't even know what to do. I mean, I'm not, we've had this conversation. And then the trade collective shows up and all of a sudden you have trades folks coming here. You have employers coming to this location, and it offers an opportunity for our students and our recent grads to really connect with a real person, with a real opportunity, like Brian earlier with the over at Northwestern. We don't do that work well. We need someone like the trades to be like this conduit, right? This connective tissue. So, I mean, I think that collective impact wise, I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah, this is important what you're saying. And it goes to the community culture here in Evanston. And the reason that they were sort of this magical workforce
Right.
planet somewhere.
No joke, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The reason is because they're called trades for a reason, because those are sort of professional secrets, so to speak. And it is all about relationships. It is all about relationships. It has everything to do with your identity and to what extent you belong to this club of people who take their craft very seriously, right? And it's not you have a passport to go from being a business leader to a doctor to a lawyer. In the professional world, you can do that. Not in the trades. Not in the trades. If you're a plumber, you're a plumber. Now you may be certified to do work as a carpenter, but you know what? You're a plumber. And it matters to those people how you represent the community, and it's often manifests itself in racial exclusion. I'll never call it racism because white guys working with other white guys, doing what they know how to do, that's one thing. It's racially exclusive because of what I just told you. It matters who you are. So we need to expand what we consider to be people who belong in the trades, right?
Yeah.
And it's one thing for, a young Black or Latino kid to go to college. That's muy importante. What is more important, however, is that they have no boundaries, no limits. They know exactly who they are and where they belong in this world. And so I keep going back to the relationship component. You have to treat each other like human beings, That's why union members call each other brother and sister. You have to approach this work with some level of skin in the game. You understand what I mean? And so I think it's important for us to lift that up and for that culture to have some oxygen in Evanston because it ain't here right now.
No, we know that, right? We know that.
I would drop a mic, but I don't want to drop these mics. But that was really good. That was really well said. I think we're getting close to kind of the wrap up time, but I want to leave it open to, is there anything that is there any help that Cradle to Career needs? Is there anything that you wish the community kind of knew about you all? Or you'd like to even talk to your own members? I don't know.
I don't know. I just want people to know about Evanston Cradle to Career, understand that we are here for the community. We're here to support, again, the good work that our partners are doing because there's some really good work. So we're here to do that. That is our job. Again, we talked about how the day looks. So we started at reparations. Then I was at the Moran Center for the Collective, which is 9 organizations who all focus on youth homelessness. And they had a program for their direct service folks. So we were over there, and then we celebrated the environmental justice crew later. Now we're here with you today at the trades, and then we'll leave and go to the African American Youth Achievement Awards. So we are just here to support, again, the work that's going on in Evanston. We believe in it. We believe in community. And, we're just happy to be here.
I just want to celebrate you. You just got named the nonprofit Person of the Year by the Evanston Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Well deserved.
Big title, yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations.
I appreciate
the business community is lifting you up. It's beautiful.
It was nice.
Pete, any last thoughts that you're thinking about?
I just thank you for the work you do. Thank you for the pushes you've given the high school. You can see the shift. We now have a division that's responsible for early college and career experiences, which we never had before.
Okay.
So that's a new thing last couple of years. So I can trace that story back to Cradle's Prepare for Adult Life work. So,
and we have funded the iKid interns for several years, along with the experience for that spring break.
The internship and the
summer
shadow.
and the shadow.
Yeah.
So, we have some skin in the game. We do believe in experiences and exposure for young folks. We know it makes a difference. So we are happy to have the high school as one of our partners.
Oh, we love you. We love you.
Baxter, any closing thoughts?
It's an honor to be on the mic with y'all, man. It's really cool. This is, and the fact that this is named after our ancestor, Becky Powell. My mama didn't have no white kids, but if she had, it'd be this guy over here. This is my man right here. I really appreciate it. Patrick, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Well, we've got some Hecky sauce here. I hope one of you likes spicy.
We love Hecky, and Hecky, let me just tell you a quick
Please,
story
this is the place.
about Hecky. I was running across some pictures, and in 2005, Emerson and Asbury, is it Emerson and Asbury right there at the corner? That's not Asbury, Green Bay, where the Hecky's barbecue joint is. They named the street that Hecky's Way, and there's a picture of Hecky, Lorraine Morton, my mother. So all four of them holding the sign. All of them are ancestors now. But it just was so great. I was like, it just made me smile. But Hecky, we love Hecky. He was one of the first, unafraid, unapologetic. This is who I am and this is what I believe. So I think we can all learn some lessons from that. Thank you for the sauce.
Which one you want, Kimberly?
I want spicy.
We got a spicy coming for you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your work.
Yeah.
I love being with you. You wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be talking to you if we weren't sharing space together. Being more proximate with you, getting to know you, listening to you, we get smarter, we get better. It's something for all of us, to dig in a little bit deeper, dig in a little bit. If you don't know something, get in. Go learn something and meet somebody. It's kind of a message for a lot of people.
Absolutely. We landed here because of Neil.
Yep.
And we were at a networking event. And I was just talking to Neil. I said, we're looking for some space because we had to move out of Family Focus. He's like, hey, we got some space. Yeah. So networking and talking to people really makes a difference. And we'll be 2 years this year here.
And I want to just go back, just kind of close out what Dr. Witherspoon shot me this morning and just how necessary, this was a direct text from Dr. Witherspoon this morning that I just cut and paste here. And it's just, our community and our agencies cannot survive doing their work in silos. We cannot survive this with our social agencies operating separately in a vacuum and each focusing exclusively on just one slice of the problem. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but that is just exactly right. And so thank you for all that you do. We could obviously talk a lot more about this. There is more to talk about.
And we have to thank Dr. Witherspoon. He has been the biggest cheerleader for Evanston Cradle to career. He believes in collective impact. He brought it to Evanston.
He did.
And we just appreciate him so much. I think I quoted him on Tuesday. Just a great day to be a Wildcat and a great day to be an Evanstonian. We just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Pete, thanks, bud.
Thank you, Pat. That was great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate you all.
Thank you,
got
Baxter.
it.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
That was fun.
That was a good time.
It was a good time.